The horror movie genre has seen a pretty significant resurge and evolution in recent years. I'd say this is mainly due to a shift from more traditional horror tropes to significant and varied storytelling. Recent trends indicate a growing preference for psychological horror, elevated horror, and to an extent, even horror comedy. Films like Jordan Peele's Get Out and Us are great examples of these films that have redefined the genre, focusing on deep psychological scares and societal fears rather than just relying solely on jump scares, gore, or a big, intimidating slasher. These films have garnered critical acclaim for their innovative approaches, complex narratives, and exploration of themes such as grief, trauma, and even racial tensions. There does, however, still seem to be quite a trend towards franchise reboots and sequels, films that blend nostalgia with modern sensibilities. Examples of these include the 2018 reboot of Halloween, which pays homage to the original while introducing contemporary elements, and the revival of Candyman, which integrates current social issues into its storyline. There was then, of course, the announcement of the Crystal Lake TV show, which is something else we will touch on later on in the video. There are many other reboots and remakes, but the question I want to answer in today's video is, what is the actual state of the horror genre in 2024 and beyond? Are we in a good place, or should we be worried? Let's get into it. I think a pretty good place to start off with this video is to look at box office results. Of course, these numbers aren't going to give us the full story, as, let's be honest, the number of people going to the cinema these days is probably drastically declining, but it should at least give us a good idea. The box office performance of horror films has been robust in recent years. Nothing has quite hit the heights of like big Marvel movies or any movies that approach that billion-dollar mark. However, with the comparatively low production costs of the average horror movie, the profit margins are significantly higher, making it much more achievable to consider them a success. For instance, Get Out was made on a budget of $4.5 million and grossed over $255 million worldwide. Similarly, the Conjuring universe, with its interconnected stories and spin-offs like Annabelle and The Nun, has proven to be a lucrative franchise, collectively grossing over $2 billion globally. Now, when we take the cost into account, there's an argument to be made that these films are actually more successful than some of the Marvel movies. That's right, I said it. Also, right now, we're still not long out from the COVID period. It's only a couple of years ago that barely any filming was able to take place, and so releases were few and far between. That time did, however, enable writers to write. So we are currently in the aftermath of where we are seeing a flood of releases from that period. I'm not really sure what this has to do with my point, but I'm sharing it anyway. Another thing that's worth pointing out is we are obviously in the streaming age, so a large amount of horrors, including some pretty big ones, are not even getting theatrical releases. Being produced by studios like Netflix, Hulu or Prime, and then being released straight onto their streaming platforms. While this is okay, it robs us of box office figures and performance statistics. The only real way to judge if they do well these days is if they get a sequel.
These days, you gotta have a sequel!
Now this is a good opportunity to talk about horror on television. A platform where it has found a fertile ground for growth and experimentation. TV shows like American Horror Story, The Haunting of Hill House, and Stranger Things have captivated audiences with their episodic storytelling and character development, which often allow for deeper exploration of horror elements. Speaking personally, while I do enjoy crapping my pants in a public cinema, I get a lot more out of a fully explored story in an episodic format. Just look at the Chucky series. That's been given multiple seasons and has somewhat of a cult following. The same could happen to the rumoured shows for Friday the 13th, Halloween, and maybe even Nightmare on Elm Street. Streaming platforms have played a crucial role in the popularisation of horror TV series, offering creators the freedom to push boundaries and innovate without the constraints of traditional network television. Anthology series, in particular, have gained a lot of traction, allowing each season, or sometimes even episode, to present a new self-contained story, keeping the content fresh and engaging. Just look at The Slasher Show. Every season of that is based around a different killer, and while not all great, some were awesome. So it gives the series an opportunity to sort of have fans remember certain storylines very fondly, rather than certain shows that kind of go on for too long and the story declines, leaving a bad taste in our mouths. These actually remain as one whole story, even if other seasons are poor. I hope that makes sense. I think the overall success of horror on TV can be attributed to several factors, including the convenience of watching at home, the chance to truly develop characters and villains, the ability to binge watch the series if you want to, and the episodic format that allows filmmakers to truly build suspense over time. This shift indicates that while horror films continue to draw audiences to the theaters, the genre's future may increasingly lie in serialized storytelling on streaming platforms. And again, I don't think that's a bad thing. Looking ahead, the horror genre is poised for further diversification and innovation. As societal issues continue to influence content, we can expect more horror films and series that address contemporary fears and anxieties. The blending of horror with other genres such as science fiction, drama, and comedy will likely continue, resulting in more hybrid narratives that appeal to broader audiences. Technological advancements in filmmaking such as VR and AR are also set to revolutionize the horror experience. Immersive horror experiences where audiences can interact with the narrative in real time may become more prevalent, offering a completely new dimension of scares.
This is like a haunted house, man. Ah!
But not even just technological improvements, but also filmmakers that are willing to push boundaries of what is possible practically. Filmmakers like Damien Leone with his Terrifier series has really pushed what you can do with visual gore. There's no secret on this channel that I am a fan of the Terrifier movies. They are essentially a practical effects showreel, with a great character and cast attached. But the fact that practical horror effects are still being pushed to this day is very exciting to me. Furthermore, the global appeal of horror is expanding, with international filmmakers bringing diverse cultural perspectives and storytelling traditions to the genre. Movies like Train to Busan from South Korea and The Wailing from South Korea have demonstrated that non-English horror films can achieve critical and commercial success worldwide. This trend suggests a more globalized future for horror, with cross-cultural influences enriching the genre. To conclude this, I'd say the horror genre is kind of thriving, driven by creative storytelling, decent box office performances, and the growing popularity of horror TV shows. As it continues to evolve, embracing new technologies and diverse voices, utilizing a blend of new content inspired by societal fears, and the familiarity of sequels and reboots of classics, the future of horror promises to be as thrilling and terrifying as ever. And personally, I cannot wait. What do you think of the horror genre right now? Are you excited? Are you worried? Let me know in the comments down below and let's discuss our favorite genre. As always, my friends, thank you all so much for watching here. If you like what you've seen, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to be trying to be more regular with the content here from now on. I've got an idea for a video I'm going to post soon which will explain where I've been, but in short, I've opened a store on the high street, but the basement of that store has, how can I describe? A horror set, basically. It's an old bank vault, so I'm going to be doing a little video tour of that, and I want your guys' suggestions for what could be done with it. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you subscribe if you're interested. It's honestly an insane and terrifying location. I've got some pretty cool ideas already. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. And remember, stay scared. Dead scared.